What is up, guys? Out here. It's January 1st, 2025. That's crazy. I am sitting here on a little boat at my new place in Austin for now. I really like it here. It's so freaking peaceful. But yeah, I'm still trying to decide if this is where I want to stay or how long I want to stay here in Austin. But man, it's been amazing so far. And yeah, the last night was awesome. New Year's Eve, I stayed in. This is the first time I've ever just wanted to stay in and be by myself on New Year's. I feel like I always I want to spend it with family or with friends or do something cool or whatever. But literally nothing that people invited me to or whatever just sounded better than just me staying home and reading. I read this book called Managing Oneself. It's really good, asking just questions about yourself, understanding you better. It was a quick read, but it was a good book to read. And just kind of journaling. I went through all my past notes and for the year, and just kind of journaling and setting intentions for the year, and yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. So really good start to the year. This morning I kind of took it chill. I slept in a little bit because I stayed up a little late, till 1, so I slept until 8 or 9, and then I got in the river here, which was awesome. Nice cold plunge. And yeah, basically there's only 2 things I'm focusing on this year, and the biggest one is my agency, building my AI agency, and the second one is documenting me building it, and also just sharing value, so growing my personal brand. Okay, so keeping it simple, and I'm just gonna do YouTube before I do anything else. So grow my YouTube, document the journey as I'm building my AI agency. So I'm really stoked. One of the things that I have been really contemplating, probably just the last 2 months, I think, is the term which I came up with, reality engineering. Okay, so if you don't know this, I'm an engineer. I went to school for engineering. I have my engineering degree, and I've always been good at math, at solving problems, right? So I have this engineering mind that has always came naturally to me, right? And then I've always been a creative, right? I've always made it in music somehow. I produce music. I like to write, poetry, just writings about life. So I have these 2 worlds, right? And I've always had just the craziest ambitions and goals, and freedom is such an important part of my life where I can't imagine giving up my freedom ever. That is the number one thing that has always been at the forefront of everything I do, is just having freedom. And I've realized that there is a way to create the life that you desire. And it is by engineering it, by engineering your ideal life, right? So my goal is to not only engineer my ideal life and pave a way for other people to do the same, right? So engineer my life and then help others engineer their ideal life. Because really, to create the life you want, that you desire, it is about engineering. Engineering is just solving problems, okay? At the root of what engineering is solving problems, getting to the root of what the issue is, and then figuring it out, right? So if you want something, right? So it's almost like working backwards, right? It's okay, what is my ideal vision? It's well, I want to be making, $50,000 a month. I don't want to be working more than a few hours a day. I want my business to run for me. I want to be able to travel. I want to have freedom, right? I want to invest in properties. I want to do this. Like, whatever your ideal life is, right? Like, you map it out, and then you think, okay, well, then what do I got to do to get there? You reverse engineer, right? It's like, okay, well, if I don't want to be like doing outreach and like doing these stuff, well, like, let me like figure out a system that I can create and then like have somebody else do that for me, because like that thing regardless has to get done, right? But if you don't want to be the one to do it, then you just need to figure out a way for it to actually get done and not have to do it yourself. So it's just like reverse engineering the ideal life that you want, right? So, but let me take it even a step back, because that's just the foundation of what reality engineering is creating your ideal life, right? And putting the pieces and problem solving your way to your desired outcome, right? It's like, sure, you can follow other people's advice, you can follow other people's plan, right? But at the end of the day, like, the life that other people are living may not be the life that you want to live. So you have to get really clear with yourself about the life that you want to create, about the life that you want, and then use that as a filter for when you take other people's advice, or, you know, people are telling you that this is the best way to live life, or to make money or whatever. It's like, take it with a grain of salt, because you don't really even know if what they have is what you want, right? So you take kind of the best of the different ideas that you find, right? And then you also use your own brain and your own problem solving abilities to design the ideal life that you want, okay? And that is the foundation of reality engineering. But what I've found when I think about it, like, what are the 3 pillars of reality engineering? And here's what they are. So the first pillar, this is reality engineering 101, all right, is mental models, okay? This is the foundation of everything, okay? Because your mind literally creates your reality. Your thoughts literally create your reality. If you think that it's impossible to make $1 million, then guess what? It's impossible to make $1 million. If you think that something is hard or like not worth doing, then it's hard and it's not worth doing, right? So, but if you think that something is easy, right? If you think that it is possible to make $1 million, or it's possible to make $50,000 a month passive, only working 2 to 3 hours a day, then you're going to figure out a way to make that happen, right? Because that's what engineers do. They figure out a way to make it happen. But you have to have the right mental models of the world, of reality, of how life works, okay? So, of course, I will be talking about different mental models that I use to shape my reality. But at the foundation, right? Like, how do you get the right mental models? Well, it comes down to a very simple thing, which is your environment, which is what you're consuming. What information are you allowing in your life? What thoughts, what beliefs, right? So at the root of everything is just questioning everything, questioning beliefs, questioning the way people do things, right? Questioning, not taking things at face value. If somebody tells you that something's possible or something's not possible, be like, why? Like, asking genuinely why. Like, well, what if we did it like this? What if we did it like that? And this all comes down to your environment. Who are you surrounding yourself with, right? And where are you getting your information from? So if you have a lot of negative people around you in your life, and you have a lot of people that just like, they just aren't thinking the way you are, like you have these giant goals and dreams and ambitions, but as soon as you come around other people, like, you literally feel like your energy drop in terms of just the way that you're thinking and what you think is possible, then you need to cut those people out, right? Because you need to be very careful with the energy that you're allowing in your life, with the thoughts, with the beliefs that people are projecting onto you, right? People, when you tell people like, yeah, I want to make $1 million or I want to do this, and they don't believe that that's true, they're gonna be like, dude, you're crazy, like, come on, you're really blah 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 blah. And like, whether you like it or not, like if it, eventually all those negative thoughts will ingrain, will like, you'll start to believe them, right? So that's why you just have to cut it out and like be very aware with where you're getting your information from. Okay, even YouTube isn't the best place. Like, I haven't been watching any YouTube videos for like the past 2 months, 2 or 3 months. But recently I started feeling like, man, I still want like some like a mentor, like places to get like some good like realignment. And I recently just got Tai Lopez's 67 steps. I'm only on the 3rd one so far, but it is freaking legit. Okay, and it's all about basically that, like how to think, how to be confident, and just all these things about success, right? So like, you always have to have somebody that you're listening to, right? And at first, when you're starting out, like, you will just be taking in information and then kind of following in the footsteps of people that have a life that you want, right? You're listening to them. And that's fine. You start moving in that direction, right? Before you realize like what you truly want and all this stuff, like, you just have to start listening to people that are ahead of you on the path that you want to go to, right? So start surrounding yourself with people that think like you. And most often than not, at the beginning, that's going to be online, right? There's people on Twitter that are talking like this. There's a whole ecosphere of people talking about bettering themselves, about making money online, about all this stuff. There's communities that you can join on school, on Instagram, that people are talking about this stuff. So like, you have to, if you don't know anybody in your life that thinks like you, then at first you have to start off online. That's how I started, okay? And I wouldn't say if you want to be extreme, because it's not extreme at all. But if you really want to be like, dude, I really want to focus on myself and like surround myself with the right people and really dive into this, like, move to a different country, different state, a different wherever, like, at least leave your hometown, at least leave your hometown. Like, that is the minimum thing you can do, okay? I went to Colombia, and there's a big digital nomad community over there. I've traveled, I lived in Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, everywhere I go, I meet digital nomads. Barcelona, Hungary, Budapest, like everywhere there's digital nomads, people living life, not even digital nomads, just nomads in general, or like just people living life in different ways, right? Like, you open your mind to the different possibilities of life, how it can be lived, because there's not just one way to live life. It's not the way that you've been told, okay, that society has told you. That's not the only way to live life. There's thousands of possible ways to live life, okay? And you need to open your mind to those things, to those realities, and you start to become more of yourself, because you don't have these people judging you. Nobody knows you, so you can just be more yourself when you start to travel. It's one of the best things I've ever done, was travel the past 2 years and work on my online business and just figure all these things out that have led me exactly where I am right now, where I've realized having the right mental models is key, okay? It's key. It's how you think about life. It's how you approach reality. It's what you even think is possible, right? About what you can do, about what you can create in the world, right? We are literally energy. We can quantum leap through time, because time isn't even real. So it all starts with what you think it is in your mind, like what you're projecting, and you can literally create the reality you want, okay? But you have to check yourself, and you have to have the right mentors, whether that's books you read, whether that's courses you buy, like the Tai Lopez thing I'm doing right now, or like communities you're in. You have to surround yourself with the right people that are thinking in this way, okay? If you join a community and everybody's making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K a month, and you're making 5, then you're like, holy shit, like, that's possible? I didn't even know that was possible. And then eventually you're around that and you're like, yeah, that's fucking possible. And it's like so attainable because you see so many people doing it. You just don't see that stuff in your hometown, or like the people that you're probably surrounding yourself with right now. Okay. So you have to just put yourself in these places to fix your mental models of reality, of what you think is possible, of what is possible. Okay. The next pillar of reality engineering is skills, okay? You have to have the right skills. The most important skills if you want to create your own reality, if you don't want to work for anybody, if you don't want to report to anybody, if you don't want to have a boss, right? If you don't want to deal with other people, like if you just want to be able to make money basically out of thin air, then you have to understand certain skills, okay? And these skills is basically persuasion, right? Everything in the world is persuasion. If I'm selling something, then I'm persuading somebody to buy it. If I want to be in a relationship, then I'm persuading somebody to be my friend in a way. If I'm like persuasion, or like if I'm posting content, then I have to persuade people to watch it, right? So it's persuasion is a huge skill, huge skill that we all need to master, including myself, okay? And that's why people will say like copywriting is like one of the best skills you can learn, because at the root of copywriting is persuasion. It's persuading somebody to click on an email, to open your email, right, with the subject line, and then it's persuading somebody to read the second line with the first line, and it's keeping them engaged, and then it's drawing, getting their attention, and then it's maintaining their attention, and then it's persuading them to click on something, right? It's like taking a total stranger, and with your words you can persuade them to take an action that you want them to take. Like, dude, that is actually like voodoo shit, okay? Which is why when you learn these things, you have to make sure you use them for good, right? To persuade people to buy things that are actually going to help them. Don't persuade them to buy shit that they don't actually need, right? Because once you start learning the persuasion and the psychological triggers that drive people to take action, you can use them to manipulate people. And that's all that marketing is. That's what these giant corporations, these giant brands, and these, why people spend thousands of dollars on like Rolex and stuff. It's just a watch, right? Just like any other watch. Or it's just like the Prada bags or whatever the fuck. Like, they're just bags. But why are they worth so much is because of the way that they package them and how they persuade and tap into your human psychological needs and desires, right? They understand you. So persuasion is one of the number one skills that you can learn, and that's probably like at the pinnacle, because what I was going to say is like attention and sales, right? If you can get attention and then you can turn that attention into sales, then you can basically make infinite money, right? If you know how to persuade. So these are the skills that you need to master: attention, persuasion, and sales, as well as, you know, being charismatic and being confident, and maybe like YouTube videos or Facebook ads. Like, all those are subsets of this, right? It's like more technical stuff, and you can go whichever way you want, but at the core, the skills that you need to master are persuasion, attention, and sales, okay? And if you do that correctly, then you can basically always print money out of thin air, okay? The last pillar of reality engineering is willingness, okay? The willingness to learn these skills, the willingness to figure it out, the willingness to do the things that are required to figure out the problem of creating your ideal life, okay? You have to be willing. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to check yourself. You have to be willing to face your fears. You have to be willing to get to the root cause of why you're not doing something that you know you need to be doing. Or if you need to do something, like me, I want to wake up early, and I'm not able to do it, then I need to ask myself, why am I not doing it? It's like, well, I'm going to sleep late. So then what I need to do to fix it is I need to go to sleep earlier. I need to make a bedtime routine or whatever. You know what I mean? So like, you have to be willing to solve the problems and to do the things that are required of you to actually get to your desired outcome. Okay? And there's different ways to approach this, different ways to think about this. But at the root of it is you have to be willing to keep going until you figure it out, until you get to where you want to go. Because the only way you fail is if you stop trying. Okay? If you see people that are the most successful people have the most failures because they've tried things that didn't work out, but they just are willing to keep going, right? So if you are willing to leave everything you know behind, to quit your job, to follow your heart, to follow your intuition, to fail, to try things, to be a beginner, right? If you're willing to fall on your face so that you can learn, then you will succeed and you will create the reality that you desire. But you have to be willing to do it, okay? I know it's like, it's kind of a more of an abstract concept. It's not something like, oh, you learn these skills and you'll be good. It's like, you know, fix your mental models and you'll change your reality. But I think it almost like glues everything together, where it's like you have to be willing to figure it out. Like an engineer, when you're trying to figure out a problem, you don't stop until you figure it out, right? Unless you just give up. Like, do you think like Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla and all these inventors like just gave up? Like maybe they felt discouraged at times. Maybe they felt like they didn't know, you know, how they were going to solve something, but they didn't give up. They kept going, right? Elon Musk, he's willing to do whatever it takes so that we can go to Mars, so that we can have reusable rockets, right? Like, people didn't even think reusable rockets could exist. And he asked, why? What if they did exist? What if we could make it? What if, right? Then you go back down to first principles, right? Which is a whole other topic for another video. There's something that I've been diving into lately, is first principles, right? But you have to be willing to get to the root cause of problems. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to figure things out, okay? So that is Reality Engineering 101. That is what I not only want to embody by basically building the businesses that I'm building and that I'm going to do. I want to embody this, right? But I also want to embody it so that I can show how it's possible. And then I want to condense this into a system that people can use to create the reality they desire, okay? Because it doesn't matter what business you do or what you like want to focus on, right? Because that has to come from you. It has to come from something that you're good at, your strengths, right? But you have to have the right mental models. You have to know the right skills, and you have to be willing to figure it out. So, yeah, that is Reality Engineering 101. I hope you enjoyed this. My camera is beeping like it's gonna die, so I don't want it to cut off on me. So I'm gonna end the video right here, but I will dive more into all these pillars throughout the year. And if you want to learn about reality engineering and how to create your own reality, sign up to my newsletter below, because I will be sharing things there as well. And yeah, that is the number one, that is the goal of this year, is to engineer my desired and ideal reality and create and lay a groundwork and foundation for how others can do the same. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this. Follow along, subscribe, and that's it, baby. Let's actually make 2025 the year that everything changes, okay? But you don't need a new calendar year to tell you to change, because time isn't even real, okay? All we have is right now. And if you want to change your reality, if you want to change your life, if you want your life to look different in 6 to 12 to 18 months, then you need to start yesterday. You need to start now. There's no tomorrow, okay? And what I've been realizing lately is you don't need more than 18 months to change your life. Or really, your life can change really fast, but 12 months is a bit not short, right? But like to make like really serious progress. But 18 months, you can actually make a lot happen, okay? So what is the next 18 months of your life gonna look like? What are you gonna accomplish? Who are you gonna be, right? And are you willing to figure it out? Are you willing to become the person that is required of you? That's on you. One sec. Okay. Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more, and fucking crush it this year. Peace.